Good evening and thank you for joining us. It's Thanksgiving, but for many in Thunder Bay, a delicious meal isn't a given today. To support those struggling or who simply didn't have anyone to break bread with, the Salvation Army teamed up with Thunder Bay Fire Rescue for the 27th annual turkey dinner. Emmett Chilton reports.
For 27 years, the tradition of serving up a turkey dinner for anyone needing a meal or wanting to join others on Thanksgiving has been a special one for the Salvation Army, Thunder Bay Professional Firefighters Association, and their families. Gary Ferguson, Executive Director for the Salvation Army's Journey to Life Center, was excited to serve the community this Thanksgiving weekend.
I think it's really important. It unites our bond with the firefighters, that we work closely with them in the daily work that we do as well. But I think it's very important that there are many people in the community that just, though it's a thankful time for many, a lot of people don't have a lot. And I think our community, there's a lot of struggling in our community at this point. So it's important that we can offer. There are other agencies that are offering Thanksgiving dinner as well, but we're pleased to be part of that circle of partners that are working towards that.
The volunteers prepped a full dinner with all the trimmings and dessert, expecting to serve at least 300 people in the community. The dinner was offered free to any who were in need or wanting company this Thanksgiving. Kevin Anderson, captain of Thunder Bay's Professional Firefighters Association, was proud to serve his community with his fellow firefighters and their families.
Yeah, I mean, every year we will get, different members that are off duty that'll come and help out, but it's, when we are first responders in the city, we see the need, we see the homelessness, the encampments that, we know that they need to come and have a meal somewhere. So for us to be able to help provide that, it just makes us feel better. And we see the smiles on the face of the people, and any little better day they could have is good by us.
This year's dinner was a success with plates flying out of the kitchen, happy smiles, and full tummies. Ferguson adds, the tradition really highlights the community's big hearts when it comes to giving back to locals who are in need.
Anybody wanted to come in and take part of this, again, they were welcome to join us today. And again, we're very grateful to have this many people coming out. And we're grateful to the firefighters and the staff and the volunteers that are all helping today.
Emma Chilton, TBT News.
2 residents from Fort William First Nation were treated for possible smoke inhalation after a cooking fire got out of control late last night. Thunder Bay Fire responded to the call at Squaw Bay Road just before midnight and on arrival encountered large amounts of fire sweeping through the house. 4 pumper trucks and a command unit responded to bring the fire under control. Both residents were released by paramedics and 2 pets were also rescued during the incident. Thunder Bay Fire wants to remind the public that if they encounter a fire, to evacuate immediately, call 911, and not put themselves in danger trying to fight the fire. City Council discussed modernizing the transit system in Thunder Bay. A report was brought forward at the recent meeting and detailed an on-demand concept. It's described as an app-based shared ride model that doesn't follow fixed routes and schedules. It would be a hybrid system though, meaning fixed transit routes would still be available and even have the potential to be offered on a higher frequency when required. Administration says the new model would save the city money as well. City Manager John Collins says one of the big next steps is finding the best way to deliver the new service.
We are certainly not developing a system where you have to book a bus a week ahead of time. That is laughable in the extreme. We're talking about a service that the public will want to use. So the shorter we can make the time frames for how long ahead you have to book and where your bus stops are, the better off we will be. But of course, the more aggressive we get in our service levels, the more it costs.
The on-demand service could be rolled out as early as next summer. Shelter House's new executive director is hoping to bring some changes to the facility, including newer programming and partnerships that'll help them be more involved in the community. Brendan Carlin has been in the role for 6 months now and spoke about some of the various challenges he's seen so far, as well as the services he hopes to implement in the future. Jessica Clement has the details.
It's been 6 months since Brendan Carlin started as executive director of the Shelter House, and while it's been an eye-opening and challenging change, he says overall it's going well.
I have worked in charity for the last 12 years. I worked for the RFDA. However, it's a different type. We weren't frontline. We distributed food to food banks and shelters such as Shelter House, and so now it's really we're frontline. People are you're working with the people every day who need these services.
Carlin notes so far the biggest challenge he's seen is the lack of funding. He didn't specify their funding goals, but explains that without adequate funds, they're not able to properly house individuals or staff the shelter.
When you're running on a skeleton staff, it's not safe for the clients and it's not safe for the staff either. The other thing that funding helps with is things like training. Some of the extras that you might not think about, but having a properly trained staff is really valuable, and we're working on it, and some of our staff have more training than others, but we'd like to get our staff more fully trained in different aspects.
Despite the challenges, Carlin says there is a push through, and Shelter House has a number of ideas and programs they want to implement in the future, including partnering with other organizations.
We're pursuing different avenues to get some of these programs off the ground. We'll be talking to individuals and businesses to hopefully get some help with some of our funding goals. And it's not something that can happen, tomorrow.
He adds that a program they're hoping to bring back someday is the SOS van, which provided food and supplies and offered transportation to homeless individuals, but stopped the services back in 2022.
I want to start it as best we can to allow for flexibility as well, but also so that it can be on the road and it can be sustainable. So that involves taking a look at all the old data and also partnering with other organizations as well. Maybe we could have a nurse on the van, or maybe we could have other types of supports. So those are all just questions that need to be figured out first, and then the funding piece can be pursued.
Carlin finished by saying they're ready to get back out into the community, and he's feeling ambitious for Shelter House's future. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Indigenous artist Coleman Hell is looking for a resurgence with his latest release called Joyride. The Thunder Bay-born singer-songwriter first made it big in 2015 with his hit single Two Heads, and he was one of the feature performers at the Wake the Giant Music Festival held earlier this month. Jonathan Wilson has a story.
I still love you, I still love you.
Coleman Hell got the crowd going as the afternoon headliner at Wake the Giant a few weeks ago. He also played at the inaugural festival in 2019, and this show marked a triumphant homecoming for the local musician, who's now based in Toronto. Hell released his latest CD, Joyride, earlier this year, and says he was excited to share some of his newest songs with his local fans.
And it's really just kind of an album jam-packed with like positive, upbeat, uplifting music. I felt like the last few years, people kind of coming out of isolation, and there's been a lot of, you kind of find yourself glued to your phone, and a lot of that can bring you down. And obviously a lot of it's serious stuff, and you want to take it seriously, but they're also, you got to leave room for joy. You got to be able to feel happy for your own health and for the people around you. So this album is kind of just a big, huge expression of joy, and I want to bring joy to the crowds that I'm playing for.
The album has already racked up millions of streams. The debut single is also called Joyride, and the colorful video was released in late March. It features his life partner Savannah Joy and has already had around 300,000 views on YouTube.
When I'm with you, it's a joyride. Drives me crazy every time. Singing me love, sick lullabies. Cut the brakes, now ride or die. When I'm with you, it's a joyride. Drives me crazy every time. Singing me love, sick lullabies. Cut the brakes, now ride or die.
The video starts off with a menacing scene showing Savannah carrying an aluminum baseball bat filled with nails. But by the end of the song, it's revealed the bat is meant for a piñata filled with good things for the two of them.
When I'm with you, it's a joyride.
Hell says they wanted to capture all of his feelings of joy in one video.
It was really fun. A lot of the album actually is based around my partner, Savannah Joy. We've been together for about 6 years now, and it's just been a really healthy, fun, joyful relationship, and it inspired a lot of the music. So we did we made a music video together, and it's kind of supposed to be like an old French new wave kind of film together, like an old school romance movie. So it's themed after that. We shot it in Vancouver. It looks really beautiful. Yeah, if you want, check it out on YouTube. It's great.
Hell's career took off like a rocket in 2015, thanks to his international hit single, Two Heads. The catchy song is still a crowd pleaser at all of his concerts.
I love ain't nothing but a monster. I love ain't nothing but a monster with two heads. Go!
He followed up that success with the hit singles Fireproof and Devotion, which both made it onto the Canadian music charts. Since then, most of his new songs have seen a little bit less airplay, and he's hoping the Joyride album will bring about a career revival. He admits it's a bit tricky to try to recreate the successes of the past, but he says it's also a blessing to have such a big hit, as many musicians often don't have that chance.
To have something that big right out the gate is sometimes a little bit intimidating. So I think I kind of rode that wave, and then I kind of had to find my footing and think, what do I really want to do? What kind of artist do I want to be? So I had a little back and forth with that, and now I'm feeling really good about where I'm at, and still I'm touring around and playing for big crowds. I just toured South Africa pretty recently. That was really cool. So yeah, things are going well. Just trying to keep doing this as long as I can,
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.